My people, listen to me. We have to protect our children, straight and simple. And some of our children are watching right now. Some of our children are living in fear. Yeah. Parents are living in fear. This is a state of emergency. The real state of emergency is the fact that our children are dying every single day. About it's probably all one a day if you average it out. Last year, 2017,
right.
50 something people died. In yesterday's Hot Topics, Neville, yesterday?
This was Monday.
Monday, you and Simone followed up on an article reporting that 35 children have died since the start of the year. Now we follow up on that with the founder of Hear the Children's Cry. Neville just said her name, and she's a friend of ours, Betty Ann Blaine. How are you?
I'm fine. Distressed about what's happening. It's 35 and we still have 3 months to go. I mean, God forbid, we don't want to hear of any more. But it probably would be the highest numbers of children murdered this year than any other year.
In this case, children, what we're talking about when we say
0 to 18. Children under 18.
You wrote an article about how many have died.
Yeah.
How many names are on the monument?
There are over 2,000. The monument has no more space. As a matter of fact, the children murdered over the last 2.5 years, those names are not there.
So the monument, you're talking about the monument downtown?
Downtown Kingston.
And they put the names?
That's etched the names of the children who have died violently and tragically in Jamaica. No more space. So as a country, we're going to have to decide whether we are going to extend the monument to put on more names, or we're going to solve this problem. I believe we can solve it.
Sorry to jump in again. These 2,000 would have been over what time span?
Over about, I would say, 10 years.
Whoa.
And you're saying the last 2 years, those names haven't
No, because there's no space. So we have about over 100 names yet to be added.
Whoa.
Yeah, including, of course, all those this year. It's a crisis. But I want to say this, the parents have to take responsibility. I really want to start there because the responsibility to protect your children belongs to parents first and foremost. The problem with these child murders are that a lot of these children are murdered in a kind of like indirect way. In other words, they're not the real targets. The targets are the parents or the family members or whomever. But when these criminals, many of them young, we're talking about the teenagers who are gunmen and criminals, when they go in to go after the mother or the father or whomever, and the child is there, that child is going to be killed as well. I don't know, some people call it collateral damage. These kids, a lot of them are not the direct targets, and this is why we're saying to the parents listening, listen, be careful who you keep friend with, be careful how you live your life, be careful who you associate with.
Your actions,
because these criminals are not differentiating, when they're coming for you, they're going to take out the child. If the child is in the house, if the child is in the room, we see it all the time. So this is a warning to parents. If you don't want your children killed that way, be careful how you live your life. But having said that, it distresses me because children have a right to be safe. That's a fundamental right. They have a right to live in safe communities. They have a right to be able to go to school and come home safe. Those are fundamental rights. And I listened to you this morning as I was waiting, where you're talking about funds being allocated for security and this. What about the funds for the protection? I need to say to the young minister, our young finance minister, what about the children? Can I hear an announcement that money is being allocated for the protection of children? Because we've got to find a way to do this. And by the way, you know, we can find, there are solutions. One of the areas I would pay attention to is the whole transportation issue. I mean, some things might be harder to fix, like poverty, child poverty, but we can fix some things.
What about the transportation?
For example, we know a lot of these kids, taximan take them, rape them, kill them. This has been going on for a long time. Why can't the government regulate transportation? Why they can't regulate taxis that running up and down? Why can't we put stickers on certain vehicles to say, this vehicle is licensed to carry children?
But you know, even though we've seen they have tried, and we've seen efforts made. The problem happens when you're coming from certain areas and those regulated taxis aren't in that area, for example, and people want a cheaper option, it is also the citizens who choose to take illegal taxis, and that's another problem.
Well, we have to educate the kids, but I'm just saying that that is one solution that's doable. It's doable. I mean, if a government can't do that, then there should not be government. Fix the problem that I envisage it, you know, these taxis run up and down. Make sure that they are licensed, right? You know who they are. You put a sticker on it that the children can see that will say, that car is safe to transport kids. That's easy to do, and there's no excuse for not doing that.
I thought the taxi system is regulated.
No, but you see, the children don't know who they are, so you need something. You need something that they can see and know that if I go into that car, I know I'm absolutely safe.
So what about the plates? Doesn't that state? I don't know.
Then you have all these robots on robot taxis. Are you telling me we can't fix that?
Well, that is definitely
we can fix that.
That is definitely one action.
So there are things we can fix. The other thing that needs to be fixed is what's happening with enforcing the law. Now here is my big concern. You can't murder a child and still walk free in the society. That's completely unacceptable. That can't work, you know. You cannot kill a child and don't face the courts. You can't.
You can't kill anybody.
No, but especially these child killers. And this is why I'm saying, do you know it's 10 years since Ananda Dean was murdered? Not one person has been charged for Ananda's murder. And she's the most famous case of a child who went missing and was murdered. We've got to do something. You can't murder people and don't face our court system and be convicted and put away for life.
Is it a problem?
You can't.
Is it a problem with the JCF that their investigative arm is not up to scratch?
I think that's a problem.
Let's dig in. Do we need to look at that? And then what about the citizens?
We need to look at that.
The citizens, somebody must know something. And this is the next problem.
And Empress, this is why I'm convinced that we have child serial killers in Jamaica.
I agree.
We have persons who have killed, because the experts tell you that when you commit murder and you're not brought to justice, you will kill again and again and again. It becomes like a habit. So I believe that we have people that have killed more than one child in this country and walking around like nothing. And you are right. This is a small society. People know each other. People know what's happening. And so I'm reaching out again to citizens to say, look here, talk, because it can be your child. But if you give information, people saying, we can't tell the police, we can't. Try and find a way to somebody you trust to give them the information. But Betty, we're in a serious situation.
And here. I'm sure as we sit here, I'm sure a lot of mothers, aunts, uncles, grandmothers are mourning because they're reflecting on their child that they've lost, listening to us have this conversation. And, having a child and having to sit with my child and watch the news,
it's very distressing.
I am affected, and I'm wondering
you break down. And
you do when you're on the front line and then you hear about not just the murders but the abuse, and you ask yourself when and how. We can't look to the government, cannot fix it. They're not capable enough.
We have to
take. I don't know if they are, but
Empress, we have to reach out to. No, I cry all the time.
I know. And
I was at the funeral of the little one 2 weeks ago, Shania Ray. That little one, the accused met her by going to her school, New Day school. Yeah. That the accused, one of them is two, the Trinidadian accused, went to her school as a student teacher, as an intern, to go because he's a teacher's college. That's how he met this 13-year-old. And so you see the problems you're having though, that this man can go into a school, befriend this 13-year-old. It's alleged sexually molest her. And while he's facing our courts for sexually molesting that child.
He was back at the school?
The child is murdered.
Oh, sorry.
This is alleged. He's alleged.
Yeah.
He's behind bars right now. But we have to reach out to parents and say this culture, because Neville and I, we were talking before, that teenagers are also committing these horrendous crimes. And that is because we live in it's a culture of violence. And you know how we talk about the intergenerational cycle of poverty? It's the same way now that we have this intergenerational cycle of violence and murders. The children live what they learn. It's horrible.
Yeah, we have to go. Good to see you as always.
Yeah, I wish we had more time, guys.
And I wish we could be talking about something else.
I'm heartbroken as you are.
Wish we could be talking about something else.
Yeah.
All right, founder of Hear the Children's Cry, Betty Ann Blaine. Take a break and we'll come back in just a little while.
Oh, boy.